IPA. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. has won numerous awards including Vocational Service Award by Rotary Club of Kajang, FedEx Route Safety Award 2017, Excellence in Communication Award by Safe Kids Worldwide USA, Prince Michael International Road Safety Award 2017, and also champion road safety in University Putra Malaysia in line with the decade of action for road safety and meeting the Sustainable Development Goal 3.6. So next, here are some of the picture of Prof receiving his award. So for you guys' information, our speaker today had been in an interview about road safety in Malaysia at Astro Awani, and also recently in January 15, he was also involved in an interview with Bernama TV about road maintenance that needs to be done periodically. So it's such a pleasure to have you with us this morning, Prof. And as we all know, that Prof have a great background, personality, and also have an excellent leadership. We as UPM students are very lucky to have a great lecturer like our today's speaker. We are blessed to have Prof as the keynote speaker for the program. Also, your willingness to share your knowledge and information on child safety is hoped to be able to make the UPM community, especially the students, aware that child safety should be given priority. So without delaying any time, I would like to invite Prof to start the talk session, because I believe me and all the audience here want to know more about what is kid safety actually all about, and maybe Prof would like to share with us anything regarding kids or child safety in Malaysia. So yeah.
Right. Right. Thanks, Hannah. Yeah, you can hear my voice, huh?
Yes, Dr. Ken.
Okay, good. Can you all see the screen now? Can see?
But not the presentation slide.
Okay. Let me just hold on. These slides are not up there, isn't it? No?
Yeah, Prof. It's like your entire screen there.
So usually what I do, I will choose your entire screen, isn't it?
You can choose a window or a tab. Maybe a window.
Let's see. I've chosen the window. Let's see if it's working.
Yes, Prof.
It's working, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, now clear? You can see the full slide.
I'm sorry, Prof, but it's actually not full. It's just half of the slide.
Oh. Still the same, huh?
Still the same.
Why? I choose the window just now. Shall I? What are the options? I have three options here: your entire screen, window, and tab.
Excuse me, Prof. I believe Prof's tab was Prof small in the tab just now. The tab should be open fully. Can Prof share screen once again? If it's entire Windows, it's okay. Just share the entire screen is also okay, but have to open the tab fully.
Again, sorry. What do you mean? Open the.
Share entire screen, I believe. Yes. Your entire screen.
Correct.
Okay. Yes, Prof. Okay. Can Prof start? I think this is yes. Okay. Now it's okay, Prof.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Hey,
Now it's
thanks. Right, thanks Hannah, and thanks Ayn, and as well as thanks Prof Sabrina for introducing me to this talk. I was told this is for KU 2203 on volunteerism development. Right, this is something new for me to touch on volunteerism talk. So thanks to the students who have joined, and thanks also to some of the other guests who have also made your time for today morning. So I'll be touching on the I'll be using the example of road safety and then linking it to our organization, which we call it as Safe Kids Malaysia, which is based in UPM, and then trying to link it with the topic on volunteerism. So for those who would like to know about Safe Kids Malaysia, we are based in Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences in UPM, where most of you belong to. Ken, and what do we do actually? We were established in 2011, and our parent body is in Safe Kids Worldwide, which is based in US. Okay, they have opened up chapters in different countries, and they have establishment in almost like more than 30 countries now. When we opened up, we were the 21st country in 2011. So what we do is we look at how can we prevent unintentional injuries among children. So there are two parts. One is intentional, another one is unintentional. Intentional is where with purpose you create the injury. Example, harm, suicide, okay, violence. That one you know that. Well, if you do that, you will get injury. Okay. Ours is unintentional, where you don't plan for it and then you get involved in. So the areas where, if we look in Malaysia, we were focusing mainly on traffic because that's where the burden is. Most of the problem involving children involves in the area of traffic, and then on drowning, fire and burns, sports injuries, because all children will be going to school. They have physical education and they are exposed for injury, okay? As well as medication safety. Where children accidentally take medication, okay, or taking a high dose or taking an expired medication. These are all areas where possible to create injury for children. Okay, and we define children as those below age of 18. So let's focus in terms of the problem where I was telling you that for today's talk, I'm going to choose on traffic injuries. Okay. This is the magnitude of problem in our country, just Malaysia. Okay, if you look at just Malaysia, every 55 seconds we record one road traffic crash. Please bear in mind these are crashes reported to police. There are many crashes which happen, which goes unreported. So if reported numbers itself is this number, just imagine if you add up with the unreported, where do we stand at? Okay, so this is the problem, and the outcome of those crashes. This is the number of lives that we lose: 6,167 per year, every year. And for the past 20 years, if you see, for the past 20 years, we are losing more than 6,000 per year. So if you take 20 years times with 6,000, we have already lost 120,000 people on the road for the last 20 years, which are preventable. Okay, and if you dilute it, every 85 minutes we are losing one life. So basically, in today's session might take about an hour, about 60 minutes or slightly more than that, and we will be losing one life during this period in the country. Okay, and where do they belong to? If you see that 6,000 lives we lost mainly from the motorcyclist group. More than 60% are being taken up by this group. and then followed by the second and third, car driver and pedestrian. But what's interesting over here that I would like you to focus here is, if you combine the first three groups, motorcyclist, car driver, and pedestrian, it will take up 90% of the total fatalities on the road. Whereas the balance 10% is being shared by all the other type of road users. And if you look, that's what the first message I wanted to cross. The second one is, just look at it. The least contributor towards fatality is your coming from the bus. So you can see the public transport contributes the least in terms of traffic fatalities, whereas private vehicles contribute the most. And among the private vehicles, the two-wheelers contributed the highest. Okay, but today's focus, we're going to touch on two examples. One example will be on motorcyclist, the one existing that we are doing, and the second example we're going to touch is on the car driver. Okay, that's a new venture. So we are going by priority. Okay, the biggest problem, we are already running the programs, and for the second biggest problem, we plan to venture in. So that's the first part. The second part is the main important message in the first part is you need to know your problem. Okay, you need to have data to show your problem. That's the first part. The first message I want to cross to you. The second message I want to cross to you is you need to look for resources in order for you to understand that problem. Okay, you have data, but for you to understand that data, you need resources. So there are many resources, but you also have to look at resources which are reliable resources. And one good reliable resources is any documents which comes out from the World Health Organization, pretty much reliable. Okay, right? And then these are the example of documents available in from WHO in the field of road safety, and there are many more. Okay, if you take fire safety, you take drowning, there are reports available from WHO website, and it is free. So do look for resources and do look for a reliable source. That's the second message I'm trying to cross to you. So whatever I'm trying to share over here for today, all the information is coming from these documents as well. The third message that I would like to cross here to everyone is we need to know as well if there are any global targets in the area that you're working, and subsequent to it is, do we have any national targets as well? Usually what happens is global targets will be there, and in country they will come up with the national targets in order to help that country to achieve the global targets. Okay, so along that line, this is one piece of document which I believe every one of us, whether you're an undergraduate or postgraduate or whoever, should have this and should know this. These are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals developed by United Nations, and is being used by every country, and it is until 2030. So we are just 1/3 of the period. We are just done with 5 years, and we got another 10 more years to go. Very much interesting, and there are many things that you can do, and you'll be guided by these SDG goals. So please make sure that you get this. Make sure you get this document and then read through this document. So what we will be working is in this document. If you see, there are two goals: goal number 3 and goal number 11, which touches on road traffic injuries. Okay, goal number 3 makes it very clear that every country by year 2020 has to reduce by 50% their number of death and injuries. Okay, so that is the global target. Subsequent to it, the national target will echo to it. The other goal that under SDG is SDG 11, where it says by 2030, every country has to provide a safe transport system for the vulnerable road users, who are the women, the children, and then the elderly. Okay, so provide safe transport system. Okay, so keeping that in mind is where the two of our programs, which is very much specifically for children. One is for when they are using motorcycle, and the other one is when they are using car. Okay, So let's look at the existing program, which we have been running for the past close to about 5 years already. Okay, and this was the program which won us the Prince Michael International Road Safety Award in 2017 in UK, and this was also the award which won us the FedEx International Road Safety Award in the same year, 2017 as well. So we know the problem where we are losing 6,000 plus lives among motorcyclists, and if you see the data, among the 6,000 lives that we lost every year, 1,000 lives are from children. And these are the lives which we could have prevented. We could have saved these children. So that's why this program, we are focusing particularly on children, because we know that we have lost 1,000 lives of children on the road. Okay? And we took up this motorcycle safety helmet. And why is because we have a product. We know this product is a solution to the problem that we are facing, because this product has been proven that it can reduce risk of injury by 72% and probability of death by 39%. So we see a road safety product as a public health vaccine, a vaccine to prevent head injury, like how all of us are looking for COVID-19 vaccine. Okay, similarly, road safety products can function as a vaccine to prevent injuries. So see it as a public health vaccine. Okay. And based on that, we developed this program and we launched it in 2016. Okay, this was the first program in 2016. We ran it in 27 primary schools in the district of Hulu Langat in Selangor. Okay, we choose Selangor. Well, the whole program for this motorcycle safety program, we choose Selangor because the number of schools in Selangor are high. That's one reason. Second reason is, in our country, if you map it well, the state which contributes highest in terms of traffic crash and traffic fatality are Selangor. So let's address the state which needs attention more. Okay, which has high number of crashes and fatality. So this is how this program came up with. Okay, and subsequent to this program, the following year, we further went to a few more schools. Okay, again in Selangor as well, but we also touched the different districts in Petaling, Perdana. Okay, and then we will keep on adding up schools in different districts. Okay, we went up to Kuala Selangor, and the last one, which is in 2019, we went in the area of Banting, Klang. Okay, where the rural part of Selangor, where usage of motorcycle are much more higher. Okay, so then we felt that we are addressing the problem in the areas where they need most. Okay, so this is where the program has moved, has evolved. Okay, so we replicate the program. That's one. Okay, every year we replicate the program in different districts. Okay, at the same time, we also enlarge enlarge in terms of the numbers of people, number of children that we are able to touch. Okay, and we were fortunate. These programs were supported by Halliburton Charitable Foundation from US, where they provided funding in terms of the child helmets. So what we did was we provided complimentary child helmets to children. Okay, and the contribution we get in country from Malaysia is the manufacturer of the child helmets in Malaysia. They gave it to us at a 50% off rate. So that was their CSR program to us. And instead of giving us funding, they gave us in kind by reducing the cost of the helmet. So when they absorbed 50% of the cost, therefore we were now able to double the number of children that we were able to reach out. So these are the kind of helps that we get. And if you look at the partners, program partners, if you look at the banners, you can see on the top, these are the program partners. We had the road safety department coming into picture. So where they join us in the program, while we are running our program, they will also run their exhibition on that day. And in some instances, they were also able to provide some complimentary helmets as well in certain locations. And then we had the National Road Safety Council as well, coming in. And then we have this National Civil Defense Force, or in Malay Bahasa, you call it as Angkatan Pertahanan Awam Malaysia, APM. So APM also works in various fields of safety, and one area is on traffic safety as well. So their personnel do join us in these sessions when we are on the ground. And how they help us is, when they attend our sessions, they do learn as well from the empowering session that we run. And our hope is for them to take it up from that session and start going into schools which we were not able to penetrate. Okay, this is the role that we have requested from APM. Okay, because APM exists completely throughout the nation. Okay, and then the other partner is the Royal Malaysian Police. We need the Royal Malaysian Police, okay, as the enforcer of the traffic. So they do join some of our programs where after we give our talk, they will also give their talks relating in terms of the law. Okay, and in some instances they also do visit the school because to make sure the program works well, talk only is insufficient. Okay, so when we run our empowerment program, the schools will reinforce the messages during the school assembly, and that will be followed by where randomly there are checks outside the school by the Royal Malaysian Police or the Road Safety Department to see whether whatever knowledge which we have transferred, is it translating into practice. This is very important, okay? Because the ultimate goal or ultimate aim that you would like to look at is are we able to build a safe practice? Because if we are not able to build a safe practice, we are not able to see the difference in terms of reduction in number of crashes and number of fatalities. Okay, so we have to build that culture towards safer practice. Okay, we are using knowledge as a medium, as a tool, in order for us to have that particular change. Okay. And when we are dealing with schools, we don't have many messages. We are quite specific. There are three main messages which we keep on repeating and which we want them to take it as a take-home message. The first message, which is very clear, is we tell them is to all the children, choose the appropriate size of safety helmet. Because the issue we are facing is children are using adult helmet instead of child helmet. So you just imagine a small kid with a small size of head. If you put a big size of helmet, an adult helmet, the helmet is too loose for the child's head. And the helmet, in fact, can even rotate. So in a crash, the helmet can easily remove. Once the helmet removed, then the kid doesn't get the protection that it's supposed to get. Okay? So that's why we tell them, choose the appropriate size of helmet. We went to various types of schools. We went to national schools, national type of schools, to Tamil schools, to Chinese schools. As long as there are kids traveling by bike, they are at risk. Therefore, we would like to reach out to them in order to protect them and to provide a safe travel for them. So that was the whole intention that we had. So these are the photos where the Road Safety Department staff joined us, and then together we run the program. Okay. Message number 2, where we had also people from the Road Transport Department, JPJ, also joining us. Okay. Message number 2, which we wanted to cross clearly to the children as well as their parents, is use a standard safety helmet. Because if you use a non-standard safety helmet, the quality is low and you don't get the protection you're supposed to get. Okay, only a standard safety helmet. What we mean by a standard safety helmet is a helmet which has already gone through the certification process, which has gone through the testing, okay, to make sure that the helmet can give you the protection that it needs during a crash. So to empower the public, to empower the children to differentiate which one is a standard helmet, which one is not a standard helmet. Okay. To differentiate is very simple. You have to look for the certification label which is available on the rear side of the helmet. Okay, so we showed them where will the sticker be placed, one, and how does the sticker looks like, and what are the words that supposed to appear in the sticker. So in the sticker, it will be a CRAM label. If it's Malaysian certification, says CRAM label, and there will be a word there saying that it is a safety helmet. Okay, so this is the word that we have to look for, And then once it appears on the helmet, then with the serial label, then we know it is a certified standard helmet. So that is an example over here. If you see on your left-hand side, the pink color helmet, that is a non-standard helmet. That is a toy helmet. You can also have a plastic helmet. You can also have a games helmet, where the size might be small in nature, okay, but it is not a motorcycle helmet. In fact, if you see inside the interior part of this kind of non-standard helmet, there will be a label there, a label there, which will say not to be used when you're using motorcycle. Okay, not for motorcycle. So even the manufacturer has made it very clear. These are helmets not for motorcycle. So therefore, as a consumer, every one of us should know which one to be used for motorcycle, which one not to be used for motorcycle. So this was the message we were crossing. And then the third one we tell them is, okay, first get the right size helmet. Second is get the standard one. Now is you need to fasten it properly. If you have the right size helmet and the standard one, but if you don't fasten it properly, again, in a crash, this helmet can remove by itself. And again, you will lose the opportunity for your head to be protected. Okay, what we mean here by securely fastening is, okay, your strap has the best option, or the standard rule is your strap has to touch your chin. Okay, so once it touches your chin, that means there is no gap between your chin and the strap. And during a crash, to the best that it can, the helmet will function to secure your head without removing. Okay. But say for some reason you feel very uncomfortable because of the strap tightening your chin, the maximum space that you can allow is only up to 2 finger space. Maximum only 2 finger space. But if possible, the standard rule or the golden rule is no gap at all. Let it touch your chin. Unless for certain circumstances, okay, the maximum space that you can allow is only up to 2 space. That's it. So this was the messages that we were crossing to them. But again, we also remind to them, every safety product also has its limited protection. It doesn't mean that if you wear a safety helmet, you can ride or drive, whatever speed that you want, and in any impact of crash speed, the helmet will protect you. No, every safety product has its limitation. Okay, it can only protect you to a certain extent of speed. Okay, above than that, okay, even the helmet can't protect you. So you need the safety protection. Okay, but at the same time, the first checkpoint is, please try to make sure a crash does not happen. In order for a crash not to happen there are many ways of doing it, but the most promising way is reduce your speed. No matter which vehicle you use, reduce your speed. If you reduce your speed, you can control your vehicle well, okay, you can manage your vehicle well, and you can prevent a crash from happening. And in the event if a crash still happens, it happens at a low speed. So reduce your speed and use all the safety products which are available. If it's motorcycle, then it's the safety helmet. If it's a car, then it's a different safety product. So this was what we were doing. And these are the intervention programs which we run in schools. Okay, if you can see the photos, we run with the talk. After the talk, we provide the complimentary helmets, and then we have the demonstration part and the exhibition part where the kids will move, and then the JKGR staffs will handle them. And we do the demonstration part, everything we do it in a small group so that the kids can interact much better, and the kids can ask questions, and the kids can see the product much more clear. And we have, you can see APM staffs are joining in hand together. And if you see the photo on your bottom right hand side, we also show them the plastic helmets, the toys helmet and games helmet, which are not supposed to be used when you're using motorcycle. Okay, and at the same time, we also show them the bicycle helmet, because there are also some people who use bicycle helmet while riding motorcycle, or who are using motorcycle helmet while using bicycle. No, 2 different products, and exclusively only for their type of vehicle. A bicycle helmet only to be used for bicycle, and a motorcycle safety helmet only to be used for motorcycle. It's not interchangeable. And then what happened is, if we only go to schools, only the students from that school only benefit. But we wanted to make sure that the program or the messages cross throughout the nation, because every kids in other states are also at risk. So in order for us to reach the other states, okay, then what we use is we use media as a tool. So our media friends have been really very helpful for Safe Kids. Okay, from since year 2017 until today, they have been giving us a lot of coverage. Sometimes in a year we get almost like 130 slots per year we get. So it's almost like every 3 days once we are being featured in the media. So because we need media, seriously, because road safety is a local problem. Road safety is a community problem. And therefore we need to reach to the community, because community can make the change. Okay. So we will use various language of medias, because everyone are at risk. We need to cross the message to every segment of the community. Okay, so whether it's English newspaper, Malay newspaper, Tamil or Chinese, everything that we try to touch. Okay, and we were quite fortunate. There were some newspapers who gave us front page coverage. If you see Star, and then you see Infinity, all gave us front page coverage. And then in addition to that, we also use the TV. We were fortunate, Awani, Astro, Bernama, TV3s, and everyone came into picture, because they saw that this was a public health issue which involves public, and therefore the message has to be crossed. So we were, at the same time, while we are running programs in the school, we will also use the media so that we reinforce the messages. And then we also use radio, because we need to reach people. Then we are not sure. There are some people who will listen to radio more compared to TV, who are traveling in the cars, therefore they will be listening to radio. So again, we use radio. Again, we cut across every language possible. Okay, from Trax FM, BFM, Myanmar, Ashik. Ashik FM is touching the Orang Asli community, and this community also uses motorcycle more because they are in the rural areas. So wherever opportunities we get to reach out to people, we never say no. We grab it, everything, and that's one opportunity for us to share, because even if one life you can save from that session, that is the benefit of the session. Okay, if we can make a change in one person's life, that is the benefit. And then besides that, we also disseminate our program, we disseminate our findings, and we were invited to a few countries. To in Malaysia, first we start in Malaysia, because we have to make a change locally, because we have to show that this intervention is also making a change. This intervention is also helping towards reduction in terms of number of fatalities. Okay, so we were fortunate. The National Road Safety Council, they gave us this particular venue to present about our programs, so that the states which we never enter, they can themselves pick up this program and run it. Okay. After that, we were invited to share these findings in India, because India is one country which has high number of motorcycle users as well, and children are also on the motorcycle, they are also at risk, and similar programs, because the signs are the same. Okay, as long as you are on a two-wheeler, you are at risk, and the biggest risk is for your head injury, and to protect your head injury is using a safety helmet. The signs remains the same no matter which country we cross. Similarly, Nepal is also a country which uses motorcycle, and we were also able to share the findings in the US during the Child Injury Prevention Conference, where we had participants from throughout the globe. Okay, so we use US as a medium in order for us to reach out to other countries as well. So the program was scalable, and it's also replicable. Scalable in the country as well. We were able to scale it up from different schools. We went to start going to different areas and from different districts. And it is also replicable if you want to do it beyond the country. In any countries which has high motorcycle usage, including say Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Indonesia, Philippines. Okay, so within country you can contribute, and as well as if you're going beyond the country as well, you can contribute. So this was the sticker that we placed it. it's showing that it is a program by UPM. It is not a helmet from UPM. It's a helmet from the manufacturer, but it's just to say that this is a program by UPM. Okay. So that is the first part, what we have done so far. So for those of you who are interested to volunteer for the programs, this program is still running for the motorcycle safety helmet. This year also, last year we were supposed to run, but because of MCO, we have stopped. But we will be rolling out again this program in different schools, the schools which we have not entered yet in Selangor. Okay, so if any of you are interested, when the moment MCO has already ended, okay, things are much safer for us to reactivate our community programs. All of you are free to join us. If you believe in the program, you believe this can make a change, and you would like to be part of it, and you feel proud of being to be part of it, then please, by all means, do join us. Okay, we are more than happy to welcome you in order for us to work together to save one child. Okay. The next venture which we will be going in is on the child restraint seat. Now looking at car. Earlier was on motorcycle. Now we're looking at car, because we believe to a larger extent in most of our family institutions, we have two vehicles. We have motorcycle, we also have car. The same child today might be traveling to school by motorcycle with their parents. Tomorrow maybe also traveling with their parents, but in car. So we need to provide protection to the child, no matter which mode of transport they use, whether it's motorcycle or a car. So we have one segment of the society which uses dual vehicle, but we also have the other segment where completely they use motorcycle or completely they use car. So by introducing two programs together, we believe we'll be able to touch a larger number of students, okay, in terms of traveling to schools. Not only traveling to schools, no matter even beyond the school time, as long as they are on the road, they need to be protected. And the aim is to make sure that we don't lose the 1,000 lives on road every year due to traffic injuries, which are preventable. The message is these are preventable injuries. Okay. So let's look at child restraint seat. Why we are touching on child restraint seat is, if you're well aware, the government has announced last year that this year onwards, child restraint seat will be mandatory. Everyone has to use the child restraint seat. So there is a law, it has been enacted, law is there, and the moment the enforcement starts, then we can start seeing results. So now is the stage where we should empower people to make sure that they know about the importance of using child seat. One is why we need to use child seat. Second is how to use it, and then to use it correctly. Because if you have a product, but if you don't know how to use it correctly, then you don't get the benefit you're supposed to get. So that's what we're trying to do in this empowerment program for this year as well. The solution has to be clear. The science has to be clear first. Is this product workable or not? So from the resources that I showed you earlier, it shows clearly child restraint seat is a safety product which can protect children. If you are infants, it can reduce death by 70%. And if your children between the age of 1 to 4, it can reduce your probability of death by 54%. And for those children above age 4, then you can reduce your clinical injuries by 59%. One of the most safest product for children who are traveling in the car. So it's like, we know there's a possibility of injury or possibility of disease coming, and we have the vaccine or we have the medication. Now is to make sure that we are able to move this vaccine or medication to the children in order to protect them. If we don't know the solution, then there's a different problem. But now we know the problem, we know the solution. Now it's trying to get the solution closer to the people who are going to face the problem. Okay, that is our contribution, connecting them and then making them safe. That is the role we are trying to do. So there are about 15 messages that we need to cross here. These are the messages that we want to cross to the community to the new couples, to the mom-to-be, to the father-to-be, or to the father and mother who have already had 1 or 2 children, but then who are expecting new kids coming in. Okay, the main message if you're traveling in a car is every car passengers need to be restrained. That is the main message. If you're an adult, we have the seatbelt. If you are a children, we have the child seat. So the main message is everyone needs to be restrained, no matter in which position you are sitting. Seatbelt is not only for driver or front passenger. Seatbelt is also for rear passengers. Please bear that in mind. The law covers for rear seatbelt as well. If you are sitting in the rear seat, if you're not using a seatbelt, in terms of law, you are going against the law. You're violating the law. The law can take action. But putting aside the law, let me look at it. If you believe it's a safety product, whether there is a law or there's no law, whether there is enforcement or no enforcement, you should be using it. Because when you use it, you benefit from that. Okay, so that's the message we're trying to cross here. If every one of you in this session, please, from today onwards, no matter in which position you sit in the car, especially in the rear position, please make sure you wear your seatbelts. Okay, so if adults wear your seatbelts, then only we can get the child to use child seat. The moment child start using child seat, when they become adult, they will most likely will be able to use the seatbelt. Because the culture of using a safety product is being inculcated already in the beginning, when they are young itself. So that's the message we are trying to cross. No matter which vehicle you use, make sure whichever vehicle you use, you have to use a safety product designed for that vehicle. So if you're using motorcycle, no matter short distance or long distance, whether weekend or weekday, whether daytime or nighttime, you have to use the safety helmet. Similarly, in the car as well. And why we want the adults to use seatbelt is then only the children will benefit from child seat. The message I'm trying to cross to you here is quite simple. In the rear seat, if I have a child seat and then I have an adult, if the adult is not wearing a seatbelt, whereas the child is using a child seat in a crash, the child, of course, because it's in a child seat, it's not much moving, therefore it's slightly protected. But the protection that it gets from the child seat is now becoming diluted because the person sitting next to them, the adult, was not wearing a seatbelt. So when the adult was not wearing a seatbelt in a crash, the adult is not restrained and the adult is start moving around and the adult hits and crash the child. So now the adult is creating injury to the child. That's why for a child seat to function and work well, not only the child has to be restrained in the child seat, but most important, all other car passengers have also need to be restrained. And for us to restrain an adult is the seatbelt. Okay? And for a seatbelt to function well, the question now is between seatbelt and child seat. When do we decide a child needs a child seat, and when do we decide a child is now ready to move to a seatbelt? Okay, the rule of thumb is very simple. For a seatbelt to function well, as how the helmet functions well is when you secure it to your chin. A seatbelt, a proper usage of seatbelt is, rule number 1 says the seatbelt at every point of time should touch your body. There shouldn't be any gap between your body and the seatbelt. That's message number 1. Message number 2 here is the place where the seatbelt touches your body has to be at your shoulder, not at your neck or your face. If it touches in your neck or your face, it means the height of that occupant is short and is not fit for the seatbelt. And this is the point where the particular occupant, most likely will be a child because the height is low, needs to move to a child seat to get the protection. So this is where you differentiate it. The other checklist, the other supporting checklist is the moment when we sit in the car seat, okay, your leg has to rest on the bottom. Okay, if your feet is not able to touch the floor, it means your height is still low. Okay, and most likely you might need a child seat. Okay, these are supporting indicators, but the main indicator is seat belt touching your body at the shoulder. Okay, the other areas that you can see is whether your leg can be bent. Okay, your leg can be bent. If it can be bent, that means the seat is more suitable for you. And the best is to create stability is your feet has to touch the floor. Okay, so these are how we will look at it. Okay, and there are in seat belts there are two types of seat belt. One we call it as a 2-point seat belt. Another one is a 3-point seat belt. 2-point seat belt is a 3-point seat belt is where the shoulder one and then together with the leg. Okay, that is what we call as a 3-point seat belt. The 2-point seat belt is where you don't have the shoulder, you only have the leg. And this one appears usually in the rear sitting middle. Okay, rear sitting middle. Between this 2-point and the 3-point, the 3-point is much more safer than the 2 points. Okay, okay. Of course, 3-point is much safer, followed by 2 points. The 2-point is still much better compared to not wearing at all seatbelt. Okay, but the first option is try your best to get a 3-point seatbelt position. Okay, and for a child seat to be fixed, it needs 3-point seatbelt position. You cannot fix the child seat at a 2-point. So that message has to also be crossed. Child seat to be fixed only at a 3-point seatbelt position. Okay. Right. In terms of the law requirement for Malaysia, very specific for Malaysia. Okay, they have mentioned the children. Most likely, this will be suitable for children below the age of 12. Okay, but the key point here is the objective one. How do you measure is looking at the height. Any kids below 135 centimeter would require a child seat, because the moment you're below 135 centimeter, and if you put you in the rear seat, okay, and we fasten the seat belt, most likely it won't be touching your shoulder, it will be touching your neck or face. Okay, of course that will be followed by the weight below 36 kilo. So if you look at the 3 indicators, age, height, weight, the priority is given for height. Okay, height is the priority. That's the main one. Okay. Selection of child seat. There are many child seats in the market. Okay, so when you're going to select the child seat, keep in mind you're looking at the age of your child, height, weight, and don't forget developmental need levels as well. Okay. So how do we before that? So keep in mind when you're going to buy a child seat. When you're buying child seat, you can buy it from the outlet, or you can also buy it online. So no matter where you're buying it, bear in mind when you're going to choose the child seat, before you choose the child seat, please get the information of your kid first. What is the height of your kid? You must know. And what is the weight of your kid? You must know. Okay, this might be your kid, or might be your siblings, might be your brothers, sisters, or might be your nephew, niece, whoever it is. Okay, so the height is the most important. Height and weight of the kid has to be known. Okay, and then the age as well. The 5th, as how for motorcycle safety helmet, we know there are standard and non-standard. Similarly, for child seat, so there are standard and non-standard. So every one of us, the moment we decide we're going to get a child seat to protect our young ones, get the standard one. Because if you get a non-standard one, which is not tested, or which may have failed testing, then it's not going to give you the protection your young ones need. So for a child seat to know whether it's standard or non-standard, okay, is to look at this label on your right hand side. Okay, this kind of label will be there. It's an orange color label. Okay, it will be fixed in your child seat. Okay, so look for this label. Okay, then this label will tell, okay, this is a certified one. In addition, for those new child seats which are coming into the market, you will also have this mirrors label as well. Okay, These are the in addition, the new ones. Okay, the existing ones will only have this. The new ones will have both. Okay, so you will look at this UN. This is what we call as United Nations Regulation 44, which touches on the weight, and United Nations Regulation 129, which touches on the height. Okay, these are two certification labels. Either one label is fine. Okay. Then there are various types of child seat, as I was mentioning. Basically, in this country, Malaysia, we go by 4 groups. Okay, group number 0 until group number 3. And even in this label, the label itself will mention this is group 0 or group 1 or group 2 or group 3. Okay, so what does group 0 means? Yeah? Group 0 is for the first group, okay, the newborn babies, okay, up to about 18 months. Okay, we are giving you a rough range up to 18 months. But suddenly, if this kid, say in the month of 12 months or 13 months, the weight of the kid is already more than 13 kilo, then the kid automatically will move to the next group. Okay, as long as it overshoots any of the indicators, you can always move the kid to the next category. Okay, so this is the categories that we should know. And when we are buying the child seat, we should also buy according to it. There are some child seats which are exclusive only for group 0, exclusive only for group 1 or group 2. But alternatively, there are also some child seats which covers more categories, where they mention this child seat is for group 0, 1, 0 and 1, or 0, 1 and 2, or group 1, 2, 3. So then, as a consumer, it's much better off for you, because you're able to get a child seat which you can use for more years. Okay, if it's covering group 1, 2, 3, that means you can use it for a larger number of years. Okay, so this is what we are trying to empower the communities. Most important, as long as get the right child seat as per the need of your child. Okay. Message number 7, there are also some child seats, we call it special child seats, which are specially designed and manufactured for especially those with special healthcare needs or medical needs. Okay, for those for special kids, you can, okay, with the medical doctor's specification, you can contact the manufacturer and you can tell them that this is the needs of your child, and they can specifically tailor-made for you. Of course, it will be more costly, but it can be done. Okay, and it can give the protection that your special kids needs when it travels. Okay, so that message has to be crossed, because we don't want to have a mismatch. You have a special kid, but then you're using a normal child seat, and we are worried that a normal child seat might not be able to give the protection that you want for your special kid. Okay, so this message also has to be crossed to the public. Number 8, there are some child seats has expiry dates, and it's being mentioned. Okay, it's being mentioned. Okay, the expiry date is being mentioned. It's being mentioned either in the child seat itself, okay, or sometimes in the manuals they will mention it, or sometimes when you Google it online, you can see it. Okay, so there are expiry date. In the event there are no expiry date mentioned, a rough indicator is every child seat you can use it roughly about 6 years. Okay, after that, I think the time has come for it to be phased off. Okay, having said that, but if before that period itself you were involved in a crash, and of course sometimes we can't see the damage which happens to the child seat, because there could be interior damages. But if the child seat has been involved in a crash, we would say that you can start phasing it off already. Okay. The message number 9 we would like to cross to everyone is, when you are buying it, whether you're buying it online or you're buying it from the outlet or what, if there is an option for you to register your child seat with the manufacturer, please make sure that you register your child seat with the manufacturer. Because the reason is, when you register with the manufacturer, if for any reason there is a recall of this product, then at least they can reach out to you saying that the child seat which we have sold for you, we are recalling it back, can you please send it back? Okay, so if we don't register it, then they are not able to reach out to us. So on that ground, do register. Those are the first phase of how do you get the right child seat. Now the second stage is the most important part, and which has failed in many countries, where the developed countries itself has failed, is installation of the child seat. That means proper usage of child seat. Here is where we are saying is, in order for us to install the child seat properly, we need to read both manuals, car manual as well as child seat manual. The car manual will tell us in which sitting position we can fix the child seat, whereas the child seat manual will tell us how do we install that child seat in the place where the car manual says can be installed. Okay, so that's why we need both manuals to be read together. The failure happens is we sometimes ignore the car manual because we have bought the car much earlier compared to the child seat. Or sometimes we may have misplaced the car manual. Or sometimes we don't have the habit of reading the car manual. Okay, so please, car manual has to be read. Okay, and then to complement it is we read the child seat manual, then we can install it properly. Okay. But sometimes there are also some organizations, some NGOs who run car seat checks. Okay, like if in Malaysia there is one organization which is very active in running this, is called the Child Passenger Seat Technician, Child Passenger Seat Organization, NGOs, which they run throughout the nation. Okay, and Miros also has ran it in between as well. So do look forward if there's any organization which runs car seat checks. And then they will have like one day dedicated for car seat checks. And you have to do your bookings, and then you just drive through their location, and then they will check and let you know whether whether have you installed it properly. That's one. Or if you have not installed it, they can help you to install it. Okay. So if there are this kind of services available, please make sure that you use it. Okay. I will always say that we ourselves should learn how to install and uninstall. Because there are times where when we install, when our kids are traveling, there might be some times where we may want to uninstall because kids are not traveling and we have adults traveling. So therefore we need a space. Okay. So installing and uninstalling, that skill we should know. Okay. And that's right. We can also do it when we are changing cars. Okay. Sometimes we may have two cars at home. Okay, so today we might be traveling with our kids in this car, but then tomorrow we might be using another car. So that's why install, uninstall skill has to be there. Yeah, this was what I was sharing you earlier. The installation location has to be very clear. Only at the 3-point seatbelt system and never at the 2-point belt system. The seatbelt is to secure your child seat. Okay, and in the child seat, you will have the harness system to secure the child. Okay, so seat belt will secure the seat, will secure the child seat, and then in the child seat you will have a kind of harness system, and that will secure the child. So this has to be used together. Message number 12: children are much safer to be seated in the rear sitting. Preferably don't allow them in the front sitting. Okay, rear sitting is much safer, not only for children, even for adults. Okay, everyone, rear sitting is much safer. Okay, the first choice for you to sit is the rear sitting. If you're not the driver, please choose rear sitting. Okay, and the other reason why we are saying children are suitable for rear, because we want to avoid the front sitting, because the front sitting has airbag. Bear in mind, airbag is a safety product, but a safety product for an adult, not for child. Okay, so it was in the airbag. The moment airbag, in the event a crash happens, when the airbag blows out. Okay, if you have a kid in the front seat, okay, the size is small, the airbag blows out. The crash itself, seeing the crash itself will create a shock for the kid. And then with the sound level, when the airbag blows out, that creates a second level of shock. And the third level of shock is when the airbag closes the face and the kid will have breathing. Okay, that's why we have seen reports and evidence to show that when we misuse airbag, when we have the kid in the front seat, airbags can kill a child. So if you use it properly, the airbag gives you protection. When we misuse it, any safety product can harm you. Okay. Children facing, okay. There are, when we are saying facing is, are you facing the traffic or are you having a rear facing? So for children below age 3, from the newborn until 3 years old, the most safest approach is to put them in a child seat and then to turn your child seat to face rear. That means if I'm traveling this way in my car, but my child's position will be facing behind. Okay, in a child seat facing rear. So that is what we call as rear facing. If we can do that, then the kid is much, much safer. Okay, once they are a bit adult, then the child seat, you can turn it around and make it similar to us front facing. Children in the front seat, we prefer not to keep it as your last choice. Okay, this will only happen is if you're traveling with more kids. Okay, if you're traveling with more kids, then only this situation will arise. Okay, the first choice will always be rear sitting. In the event if you have, say, more than 3 kids traveling and you need to have one of the kids seated in the front, then choose the child which is the eldest. Okay, the eldest eldest, and have them in the front seat, because the youngest is the one who needs more protection, and the youngest is the one who we are going to place them in the rear sitting, because that's where it's much more safer. Whoever who needs more protection, we will keep them in the rear seat. Okay, the least level of protection is the one that we will move them to the front seat. When we have them in the front seat, always remember the child seat, if you put it in the front seat, it has to be front facing, can never be rear facing, because if it's rear facing, that means the seat position is very close to the source of airbag, and that will danger the kid. Okay, so preferably no, that's why I'm telling you, but if have to, then it has to be front facing and eldest child, and try to move your chair, your front chair, the furthest you can, push it behind, so that now the gap is big between the location of your seat and the source of the airbag. That is one way for us to minimize the risk over there. Okay, and this, I believe, the 15th message here is the choice of sitting location. In terms of safety wise, your priority, your first choice to put your child safe is in the rear sitting behind the front passenger. So if I'm the driver, I have the front passenger here, behind the front passenger, that's the first choice. Okay, even if you see a VIP sitting in if a VIP traveling in a car, that is the place where the VIP sits. That's the most safest place. Okay, so that's first choice. Second choice where you will fix the car seat is behind the driver. Okay, and the third place is where the middle seat in the rear, but provided that middle seat has a 3-point system. If the middle seat only has 2-point system, you cannot fix it. Okay, and then only the fourth choice is where the frontal passenger seat. Again, if you're going to use the frontal passenger seat, check your manual. Does your manual allow or not for that? If your car manual says no, then you cannot do it. Okay, if your car manual says no, then no. So always follow what the manual says. Huh? Don't forget, again, I'm repeating back, 2 manuals: car manual and then the child seat manual. So now those are the messages that you have. So you have the knowledge. You have the knowledge in the beginning on the child on the motorcycle safety helmet for our existing program. For this new program, we have shared you the 15 messages that we want to cross to the public, we want to cross to the community, we want to empower them. Okay, if we can empower the community with this 15 messages itself, it should be sufficient enough to make sure that they can make the right decision by giving importance to place their kid on the child seat, to get the right child seat, and then to install the child seat correctly. Then they will get the protection that they want for their child, and their child will have a safe travel. So those are the 15 messages we want them to cross. So that knowledge is what I've crossed to you now. So now the question comes up is, how can you and me and I volunteer? How can I volunteer to help myself, others, and then a nation? I'm going to looking at 3 levels. First, I always say that we have to volunteer to help ourselves first. Because sometimes we have the messages, we have the knowledge, but we are not even helping ourselves. I give you an easy example. We believe seatbelt can save us. We are using seatbelt when we are driving, when we are sitting the front passenger. But the same person, when we move to the rear seat, the usage of seatbelt drops. That's why, please, value yourself too. Volunteer for yourself too as well. Okay, so start by volunteering for yourself to make sure you are safe. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say here. Volunteer to make your travel safe by practice. So for all of you, please use the seatbelt. No matter which position you're sitting, please use a safety helmet when you're traveling using motorcycle. That's the first that I would like to request. Once you start making it into practice, it is basically knowledge. Knowledge, we're making it into practice. And when you keep on doing this practice, it becomes culture. Once it becomes culture, we cannot change it. Very difficult to change a culture. It's something that when you, every day morning when you wake up and then you brush your teeth, we don't have to keep on reminding you to brush your teeth, because that has become already your culture. Okay, so now the whole idea is keep on practicing it every day, keep on practicing it frequently, then it becomes culture. That's message number 1. Message number 2, how you can help us is, we need you to volunteer, to share and care for the others, for the immediate ones who are close to you, who you believe that if you say, there is a chance for them to believe in you, and then will take it up. Okay, don't go beyond yet. First, you practice it, because people will see first whether are you practicing it when you are saying it. If you don't practice and you say something, people don't believe in much. Okay, so you practice it. That's what I'm saying. The first level. Second is, you try to share it to your immediate friends and family members, whom you have control, whom you have observation, whom you can observe it. Okay, whom you have opportunity to see them more often, so that you can keep on reminding them. Okay, so this is what we request: volunteer and share that 15 messages on the child seat, provided you believe that these 15 messages are true. These 15 messages can make a change, and then after that only you should share it. Okay, if you don't believe it, please don't share it, because you must believe in it first, and then when you share it wholeheartedly, because the reason why you're sharing is you want to see that it can make a difference, and you want to make sure that they are safe. The third one, after you have done the first 2 phases, then this is where you start moving out from your comfort zone, reaching out to people whom you don't know, reaching out to people whom they don't know you as well. Okay, but with one single intention, with one good aim. Okay, that you want to make sure that they are safe too. You want to make sure that their travel are safe. Okay, their family are taken care. So this is where we have reached the third level, where we are making a difference at population level. You can empower organizations, or you can empower communities. Doesn't matter. Organizations are something like, you have few clubs, few societies. Go by organizations. If you have communities, if you have residential communities, okay, go by it. Doesn't matter the number. If the number are small, that's fine, because it's at the end is what you want to know is how many people actually changed. It's not how many people joined this session. How many people that you are able to make a change. And when you're able to make a change in certain people, and when that people start practicing it and they can see the difference, we hope they will also further change it. So it should not end. It should be just spinning it, and then there should be a spillover. And in this country, we have a safe culture. Ken, I always like this. If you realize that every day morning, we start with Selamat Pagi, Selamat Tengah Hari, Selamat Petang, Selamat Malam, Selamat Datang, Selamat Pulang. So the word Selamat, safe, is being built in together with our activities daily. So all we need is, it doesn't end with just by words, but we should translate that into practice. And that practice, if we keep on doing it continuously, it will become a culture. Okay, we have that culture by saying it. It's just that we want to now transform it into activities. And I always like UPM's motto is this: with knowledge we serve. Serve with knowledge, because now you have the knowledge. If it is motorcycle safety helmet, you have the 3 messages that we wanted to cross. For this car seat, we have the 15 messages that we wanted to cross. So with the knowledge that we have, and then when we serve, then there is a difference that you can make to the population. Population will see it. There is something that they get something new, they get it. If they get something new, then they will value it, and there is always a chance for them to make a difference in terms of their practice. Okay. Having said that, thank you very much, and I open for Q&A session. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Prof, for the great sharing. And the information given was also very useful, like using the child seat, and some of it also something new to us, like we must prioritize height of child in choosing the child seat. And also remember, my dear audience, as Prof said, we must prioritize child or kid safety, as we as human beings always need to prevent any danger as we could. So we can also always refer to the messages that shared by Prof. And remember about practice first, then share, and finally make a difference at population. So, well, I believe every one of us believe that prevention is always better than cure. So now we are reached to Q&A session. So, Prof, looks like you have a lot of fans here who want to ask you a question about our topic today. So, next slide. So, can we proceed to the next slide, Tara? All right. So, here are some of the questions that we choose, because there's a lot of questions there. And then, so here are some of the questions, like the first question, second, third, and fourth. And so, as we are running out of time, and the time very jealous of very jealous to us. So now, Prof, you can.
Okay, I'll do that. Thanks. But in case if I have missed out any questions, you have seen my email address. Please feel free to email me, and then I will just give you the answer. Let me just take out the question. The first one is, would it be advisable for kids to wear helmets with a visor or no visor? In terms of safety, even without visor, it's fine. We are looking only at a safety helmet. Okay, so safety helmet only is fine. Even without visor should be fine. Okay, we have not done any much testing for the visor without visor. Visor is mainly for the driver, for the rider we see, so that it doesn't blocks his view much when he's riding. So, in fact, all our programs for children, when we provide our helmets, are without visor. Okay, I would prefer that we go without visor first. That itself is already fine. Okay. Next is because when a kid sits in the bike, it's sitting behind the rider, so it's already getting the rider itself is already functioning like a kind of protection. So you don't really need a visor there. Question number 2: what is the first thing parents should do when an injury has occurred? Most parents would be panic in an accident, hence no correct cause. Okay, this is completely a different topic. This one I prefer someone from the medical field to come into picture to address it, or a clinician. Okay, of course there are many rules over here. So I would prefer to skip question number 2, because I'm not a clinician and not a medical doctor. Okay, so question number 2, we leave it for them. Question number 3. I'm just curious, what about child seat on a 2 doors sports car? Since most sports car don't have proper safety most sports car don't have proper safety as to compare with sedan. Oh, that part I won't be able to comment. I'm not sure the evidence here. Sports car don't have proper safety. That part I don't for the comment, because I believe that all cars have proper safety. It's just that very rare sports car travels with kid. Okay, but even if they travel with kid, if there are 2 seats possible, that means the driver is there, then the other seat is where they use a child seat. But again, in that situation, the child seat becomes in the front seat position, which is more dangerous. Okay, but most of the time you see those who have this sports car, they also have other cars. So I believe those who have sports car, when they're traveling with their kids, they will be using the other alternative cars. But if they're not doing so, I would recommend that they use the alternative cars, okay, when they're traveling with the kids. And then when they're traveling with adults, then they can use the sports car. So that would be my answer for question number 3. Question number 4, what do you think about people putting their car seats in front because they are afraid they will forget the child in the car? Okay, front seat is very risky for a child. So please, child seat, the best is at the rear seat. If you're worried that in case you may forget or your child, if they are behind, try to address that issue of the forgetfulness. There are various ways. One is through using your mobile phone. When you're using your Waze or anything, when you're putting a destination, there is always one option where you can always put a child reminder. That means the moment you reach your destination, the child reminder will appear in your phone. Then that can tell you that you have someone behind. Or the other way is to have something important, your important documents, you also place it behind together with the child, so that when you get out from the car, because you want to take the important documents, you will also look at your child behind. Okay, for those ladies who are traveling, we always say that you can also have your handbags behind, but then not on the seat, but then on the bottom, because if you put it on the seat behind, then it is also visible for the others. Then this can also create a security issue. So place it on the leg rest area behind, so that when you're going to take your handbags or your office laptops or whatever it is, because of that you will see your child. So that way we can address the forgetfulness. Okay, those are the 4 questions I have addressed. Is there any other questions in the chat box?
Yes, yes, Prof. There's a question.
Can you read for me the question?
Nur Ain Fariha asks, Prof, as we know, child seats are very pricey, almost all retained for 200 ringgit and above. So hence some family cannot afford to buy child seats. What can this family do if they cannot buy or obtain child seats for their children?
Yeah, I agree. Child seats are a bit pricey, but at the price now, you can get a child seat for a standard child seat for almost like 250. You can get it. Okay, but of course it is a bit pricey. But compared to the price previously, was much more higher. Just that now, when more people are buying, more people are selling, therefore the price has gone down. So there are a few options here. For those who really can't afford it, what I would recommend is for those organizations, when we have like many staffs working with us, when we have newborn babies, okay, sometimes what we do is among the staffs we will pull resources, and then we used to buy some safety products to some child products to them, okay, baby hampers or trolleys or what. So can we have a change under this new norm? Can we start providing safety products instead of child product? That means, can we start pulling funds to provide them child safety seats? That's what I see, one option. Second is for the employer itself, instead of giving out, say, sometimes cash or sometimes baby hampers, whatever it is in terms of other child products, can employers also, for a change under new norm, provide child seats? Okay, that's the two options I'm seeing. The third one I'm looking at is if there are any organizations which can provide child seat rentals. Okay, provided the child seat are still in good condition, not involved in a crash, still hygiene. Okay, and then if they can provide that for child seat rentals, it can also to a certain extent address this issue. Okay, and then the fourth one is if people can start donating their child seats, which is again, child seats in good condition, not involved in a crash, and within the lifespan, okay, they can also donate child seats for others to use. Okay, then in this way, to some extent, we can reduce the burden of these people who need this. It's like having a food bank. Okay, now can we have a child seat bank? Okay, a place where it can receive the child seats, and then a place where it can also disperse child seats for those who needs it. Okay, on the other end, if you for those who are on the say not B40 group, say the M40 group, the medium 40 group, a 250 ringgit child seat, to some extent is also manageable, because sometimes just cross check and see they are willing to spend 600, 700 ringgit for a mobile phone. Okay, can we spend only 250 for our child, whom we really love, whom we really care for? And these child seats can be used at least for 5 years. So if 250 for 5 years, per year 50 ringgit. 50 ringgit per year, you dilute it per month, you divide by 12. It's almost like 6 ringgit or something, 5 ringgit per month. So comparison compared to the other type of expenses that we do. Okay, so it's just mainly now in terms of priority, in terms of spending. Okay, so wherever we can prioritize, please prioritize. But for the groups which cannot prioritize, we understand. For this group, can someone else come forward and help them? I hope I've addressed that question for you. Any other questions?
All right. All right, Prof. Since there's no any other question, and a lot of us like agree to the last statement that's stated by you, Prof. Like we need to prioritize first. Prioritize what thing that we need to prioritize. So I guess that's like the end of our Q&A session. So we have reached to the end of the talk. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience caused. And so now let us capture this moment by having a photography session. So dear guests of honor and also the current participant, we kindly request that you switch on your camera for the photography session. So your cooperation is much appreciated.
Yes, the audience, you are welcome to on your camera. So I'll count until 3 to capture our moments. So hold on, I think there are audience wants to switch on. So 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay, again. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Alright, thank you.
Right. Thank you, everyone.
Right, thank you everyone. So thank you to all the Google Meet participants for spending your time and stay with us until the very end. So all of the beloved Google Meet participant may leave the meeting room right now if you're willing to. So thank you very much, Prof, for the sharing session.
Thank you.